Hello, this is our video for project number 5, and I will talk about analyze first. I figured out there are 100 lockers and 100 students in the school. All locker, which is number 1 to 100, start out as closed. Student number 1 starts locker number 1 and then switched all open lockers to closed and all closed lockers to opened. So all lockers will be open when student number 1 finished. And student number 2 comes in next and starts locker number 2 and switch the status of every other lockers. That means they will close lockers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. And I analyze what's happened here. We study as a local number that is the same as the student number, and switch its status. Then we added 2, which is the student number. So 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6 to get next local that we have to change the status. So switch its status and then added the student number again and again to switch all those locals. The same thing happens at student number 3, number 4, number 5, and so on. So next I will talk about design. First, we made 100 elements using Boolean value which represent 100 lockers, and using for loop and represent each of students from 1 to 100. Student switches every lockers which is multiple of student number. So I will use if else statement to change from open to close, close to open. And at last, print all open lockers using system.out.println.
Okay, I'll go over the code now. So here we just defined our class as just locker puzzle because that's kind of how it's described as the assignment. And here we have our main method. Originally, when we were working on this project, we had 2 different methods, one for the array where it returns an array value, but we found that this is just a lot more simpler and less code. So here we created our array and we decided to have our element type as Boolean. So either if it's true or false, and there's going to be 100 elements, which represents each of the lockers. So initially all the lockers are going to be closed. So we initialized every locker to start off with false, which is basically closed, by using a for loop. So here we kind of go into the meat of the project, just kind of trying to figure out how to change each of the lockers' positions. So what we decided to use was use a for loop. Here we had to use the numbers, or start with numbers 1 and number 100, because if we used numbers 0 to 99, then it would create math errors down here. And we'll get into that. And here we have another for loop. So this first for loop talks about the students just going around to each one and opening each locker that they correspond with, and this is each of the lockers. So this third line here, it's talking about whether or not each student has that locker, and basically that's figured out is if it's divisible by it, then it'll open that locker or close that locker. And what Hannah said about the if-else statements of opening or closing it, it's right here. And we had to do -1 because of the shift that we had up here for the math adjustment to make the array positioning better for the index. But it'll close it if it's open, and it'll open if it's closed. And then at the end, what we did is we just goes through the array, and if it's true, then it'll print it out. It'll say locker at the number, and it'll say it's open, and if it's not, it'll just skip it. And I'll just go ahead and run here just to show that it works. And as you can see, each locker is open that is supposed to open. And this is actually an interesting math problem as well, because it shows that all of these numbers are square numbers, because each of those numbers have an odd number of divisors, whereas other numbers would have a number that divides into it that multiplies with another that's also its divisor. So that was our project number 5 about locker puzzle. Thank you.
Thank you.